Good morning. Today is Monday the 25th of September 2023 and I'm going to go over my levels for today. On my screen at the moment is the MES S&P index futures. This is the MES, but you can also look at the ES chart, which is exactly the same chart. We're looking at the hourly time frame right now. So it's just a quick recap on what we're seeing, what we've seen on the daily. Start with the daily. Weekly actually. So in the weekly we can see we've broken that important level, this area here, 4400, and we're showing a change of trend now over the weekly. So we're putting a trend line there and potentially putting in a trend line here. So potentially we could see a bit of a pullback and we could start seeing something like that, but we won't know that until we actually see what the chart's doing. We've got a potential weekly target of around this area, which is a area of demand, and that's around 4,300. So 4,300 is an area to watch out for. Whether we can get there this week, most likely we're looking pretty bearish. We've got a big red candle, top and tail candle there. Volume's still pretty low as well, so there's no real volume showing that we're coming to an end of a trend. So we'll just play it week by week and day by day. So looking at the daily, we can see the daily's now broken this area and it's looking pretty weak today. Again, we've got the 200 rise and 200 moving average around the 4,300 area. So potentially we can see a bit of a move back down to that area. That's potentially the area we could be moving to next. So 4,300. So keep a note of that area. And it's also this area of demand where we've seen tops of all these candles and we retested it before we had this big move up, but also we've got this big area congested volume, and this point of control is suggesting around 42.40 is an area of natural resistance. So 4,300, all of this area is a potential area we can watch for potential bounce on the daily. So let's go to the hourly, look at the levels for today. So I've put a few levels in. Where are we now? So the next big area we can watch for on the daily has got to be around this area here. And that's around 43.30. Just see if there's anything better. No, that's it. And we've got this area of demand around 42.70 through to 4,300. So again, the hourly is looking pretty bleak as well. There's nothing in this area. I think the next area is where we're coming into that. So today, what I'll be watching for, just zoom in to see the price. Yeah, I think the best area will be this area I've already marked up, 43.31. So my first area to watch would be a long or a bounce at 43.31 area as a potential bounce. That's a high risk bounce because we're relatively far away from it at the moment. And for rejection, we could be looking at today's pre-market high as a rejection area. So let's make an adjustment, which will also be the retest of the lows from Friday. So this entire area, if we can come back up to here and retest it and bounce down low to make another step lower, we've potentially got a target in place as well at 43.31. If we start seeing buying in the market, and don't forget we've got the downward sloping 50 moving average coming into play as well. If we start to see a bit of buying coming back into the market, then potentially we could look for a break and retest long, but we will have to get over this moving average, this 50 moving average at the same time, and so that could act as natural resistance. And look, we've also got this small hourly demand supply area right now, and we could see resistance, and you can see on this chart here on the volume control, just a little in this volume control area here of higher than average volume for this entire area, so it's congested around this area. So 43.80, or the tops of that candle, is potential rejection area. So that's what I'm watching for, between there and there for rejection. And that'll be off of the 50 as well. So these are two higher probability rejections. Let's just mark that one in as well. So I've got the resistance area. So that's the areas I'm watching for rejections, and obviously it goes on both of these. If we break it and retest, then we'll be looking for the retest as well. One thing I didn't check was economic news. There wasn't much today. We had a bit at 8:30, but nothing of high risk. We've got Fed speaking, not until after market close. Yes, there's no real. The 10:30 Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index, that gives it 2 out of 3. So keep an eye on whatever trade you're in around 10:30 today. Tomorrow, nothing of high importance tomorrow as well. In fact, 27th we've got durable goods and SAFO. So that's the biggest news we've got coming out in the next couple of days. And the 28th and 29th. So 27th, 28th and 29th. So what's that? That's Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So they're the days to watch out for. Okay, so that's the hourly. There's not much really to look at on here today. The levels are pretty specific. 43.30 area for a bounce. 43.78 for higher risk rejection, and we've got 43.62 for higher probability rejection there, and that's a higher risk rejection at 43.62. And that's it. We're in a downtrend as well, so this will be probably less riskier than if we were trying to look for a break and retest long, because we're in a downtrend. Okay, looking at SPY next. So I've got some levels. These are from Friday. I've not really looked at it since Friday. So we've broken through this area, and so the next area we've got is this demand area. So we're looking at 426 through to 427 as a potential bounce area. For rejection, we've still got to keep an eye on the neckline as well. In fact, I'll go back to the MES in a minute to look at the neckline. So potential rejection at 434 area as well on SPY. I quite like that area there. And then if we see significant selling on the SPY and we break through this area, we break and retest, we've got demand area here for potential. Is this the area we're watching? 426 is also to 427. Yeah, that's what we talked about. That's our bounce area. And then we potentially got this area down here at 417 to 420. There's not much. If it breaks below there, there's no volume as well. It's interesting. So if you look at the volume profile, there's nothing here as well. So this entire area, we may not see much resistance if we do break down below this area. So this is a bit of a void. So potentially this is a heaviest area of volume down here, and where the point of control is at 410. So to summarise, we've got the let's zoom in a bit. I can't zoom in. There we go. So we've got, I think this is a bit of a funny candle, but we're around here. Pre-market highs at 430 for a potential rejection, higher risk rejection. And we've got these areas here at 434, 433.50 for higher risk rejection back down. And then we've got bounces at 426 to 427 area. And I think that's it really for SPY. Just looking at Qs. So we've got this big area here. Last time we came down to this area, we saw a big reaction back up. So potentially this is the area, this is a higher probability bounce area, and we're looking at 355.50 area through to 354.50. So this entire area is a potential bounce area. And then as for rejections, We've got the pre-market high again, which is 358.50, and then we've got the higher probability area, which is at 361.50. Let's just mark these up. That area there. And looking at volume, it's quite low volume at this end as well, so we may not see too much resistance if we do start pushing up, but we do have the interesting to see that the 200 moving average is now downtrending, and the 50s are downward sloping moving average as well. So potentially we could meet up with the 50 moving average around that area as well. So 361.50 is an area to watch for a rejection. That's a higher probability rejection. Let's just zoom out a bit, see what else we've got. So where we are right now looks like a daily area as well, a daily bounce area, and that's because we've got bottoms of candles, tops of candles. So what was the ceiling is now the floor, and so potentially we could be looking for a break and retest of this area. And this is if you look at this pattern, it's a head and shoulders pattern. So that's the neckline along there, and we've got the head, the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. So we could be potentially looking for a break and retest of this area, 356 area, for a potential rejection down, with a target there. The next target would be around here, and then obviously we've got this highly congested volume at 315 to what's that, 317 area. Okay, so that's Qs. Nasdaq's probably similar to Qs. Yeah, so look at that, that's interesting as well. So we've got a pullback, it retested this area and then broke back down. So if we were to come back up to this area, 14,800, 14,880, then we could be looking for another retest. Higher concentrated volume is around this area as well, so 14,900 for 15 is another rejection area to watch out for. Let's zoom out a bit. So 5 minutes, go into the hourly. That's better. So this is the area we were just looking at a few seconds ago, and we've got this area here, so potentially draw this rejection zone in there. And then we haven't got anything until we get up to here, so potentially that area there as well as a rejection supply zone. And that's the only areas to watch for. So 15, yeah, there we go, look at that, nice round number as well. So 15,000 is a higher probability rejection, and that will continue to trend down if we reject. And then if we do see a bit of buying, and then maybe as we meet up with the 200 and around 15,400 is a potential rejection area. And for bounces, we've broken that low, just so potentially we're at a bounce area now, which would be this area here, and then the next bounce area would be around here. So where's that coming to? At 14,600 roughly. So let's just draw that in. 14,644, and we've got this area, but we're looking like we're going to break down through this area. We've already broken today's low. We've also broken August's low as well. So potentially we could see it come down, pull back and hit there. So that's an area to watch for a potential bounce. And then finally we're looking at oil. We're looking at the hourly time frame. This is the MCL chart. So we hit the tops, look at that, lovely. We talked about this area. 92.18 was an area we was watching, and it rejected that area nicely. Came down, didn't quite retest it. We may be looking to come back into the retest of this area, possibly for a double top. We are looking, hasn't quite changed. We're just going sideways at the moment, and we need to see what happens. If it can break back down below the 200 and below these pivots, then potentially we're seeing a bit of a change of trend. We put in a lower high as well on the daily, so that's a change of trend as well. So we are probably waiting for it to get below 89.50 to confirm the downtrend, and maybe we can look for a retest off of 89.50 if it breaks down below. But I think because we're so far away on the daily as well, we need a bit of a pullback. And for bounce, so the bounce would be in this area for potential pullback if you want to take a higher risk bounce, and then we're looking to target the next demand zone, which will be this area here, 84. Zoom out. Let's have a look on the daily, because the daily shows you a nice. So here you go. Look at this on the daily. So topping tail, bit of an indecision, topping tail. Currently putting in a red day, and the signs there higher volume as well, which could signify we had this volume spike here, which could signify ending volume. Could have just been extra volume to push up through this level as well. But we are potentially looking at an end of a trend. You normally get higher volume where the inside or the smart money are now selling off what they've got up here. We could see it just do this for a while and then before breaking down. So it does look like we're setting up for a bit of a move down with the topping tails. We put in a lower high as well, and we just need it to break down below this 8 moving average on the daily and close below it as well is important. And then potentially we could be looking at the 20 moving average as our next area target. So until we've put in another bottom tail, we're not confirmed in a downtrend just yet on the daily. So we'll see what the next few days go. If it comes down here, then we're in a downtrend. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to go back to MES. I'm going to be away for the next hour because my little boy's got a secret special award at his school, so I've been invited to his school assembly to watch him be presented with it. But I'll be back soon after the probably around about 3:15, basically in about an hour's time. So just quickly recap the levels on MES. So we've got this higher risk, higher probability rejection at 4400, higher probability rejection at 4378, 4379 area, and we've got this higher risk rejection at 4362, which is the pre-market highs, but it is also the lows from Friday. So it may not be higher risk, but it might be good to get that with confirmation. And if it bounces, we've got 4331 as a bounce area, and that's coming from a level from a while back. Tops of these candles from May, but the best area for a bounce would be 4280, this entire area here. So I want to see it come into, I'm probably going to redo my zones shortly, but we want it to get into about 4282 is the area we're really watching for in that area, about there. 4283.25 for potential bounce. And then obviously we'll play the chart based on what it's currently doing. So I'm going to try and be stricter to that this week, to try and stick to my levels, because the levels always work. You can see there's levels bouncing off of all these. Even here it broke through, retested. So always keep an eye on break and retest as well, because you do get quite a lot of tests. Even though like here it went right through, kind of retested this area, came back up, hovered along that level for a bit, and look at this candle came down, pulled back to that level, and then broke back down. And again here, even though these levels were broken, came back up, retested it, came back down, and again we hovered around this area, came back up, retested this level, broke back down. So now we're broken through this level, we're kind of hovering around this level, we come back up, we've retested this level again, 4400, and then we come back down to this level, and now we're sitting at this level, and we've come back up, we've retested that level, 4378, and then we broke down through the level. And in the pre-market today, we've come back, we've retested that level again, and broken down. So the levels are really important. You know, every single level here, maybe one of them's not quite valid, but every single level here, that's why I keep the old ones in as well. Even if it looks like it's broken down, don't just remove the level, just wait for a few days, see whether it comes back up and retest that area. So it's all quite valid, you know, days and months. We're looking months later at the moment. We're going back to August, and soon we'll be going back to levels from May. And so I generally like to keep them in. It does get a bit tight, it gets a bit messy sometimes, and so I do remove them quite often and add them back in again. But always keep the levels open on the screen, because you can see what's coming on. Look, we're literally stepping down through all the levels, stepping down, touching them. So, you know, hopefully this video has helped you. If you like it, don't forget to hit the like button, and I will see some of you in our live chat room today. Okay, thanks for watching.